Yo, what's good, guys? Today's video, I'm going to be answering a question that I get all the time, whether it be in the comments or the chat in the live streams. Link down below if you do want to be on the Twitch. We have music on the Twitch, so it doesn't get copyrighted like it does on YouTube. But anyway, that question is, what's your lineup looking like going into next season? Who are you considering wild carding? And, there's been some concerns about the bullpen, starting rotation, stuff like that. I'm going to try to answer all those in this video today. So if that is helpful, if this is a question that's been on your mind, like, comment, subscribe. If you have seen multiple of the channel's videos, it would mean a lot if you subbed. Gets that watch time from subscribers up. So this is what I'm running in ranked currently. Like as of this moment right now, the 28th of August, 3 days before the season resets, this is what I'm running. I think this is the best lineup by far. However, that is going to change moving into next season. So the main change is Griffey's going to take center field. Mickey is gone. Mickey is not a wild card option in my mind. I would rather have either Javi Baez in left, Austin Riley in left, or Andrew McCutchen in left. Really up to you guys. It doesn't matter too terribly much. Obviously, this would mean I'm going to be wild carding Cal Ripken next season. So that's my wild card spot gone, which means Trout is no longer eligible to be a wild card, at least in my eyes. So I would go with either somebody that's boosted by the Ripken boost that I wouldn't have to wild card, like one of these fine fellas right here, or what I'm going to be doing is just running Rafi Big Scoops as my DH. I think his defense is a little poor, even at first base. It's nice having Bellinger over there, somebody that snags a lot of hardliners and ground balls, gets you a lot more double plays that way, I find. So I like having Devers there, and then the rest of the lineup stays unchanged. So we do lose a tier on the Ripken boost. Marte comes in to play second for Ripken, if you were wondering who does that. So yes, we do lose a tier. If I ran Austin Riley instead of like McCutchen, then that would get us back. So maybe that's something to think about. Maybe I put Rafi at third, move Jose to left, and put in a new DH that fits the Ripken boost. I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities if I did want that max tier of the Ripken boost. But you'll see Griffey is more than fine with the Ripken boost. Has 119. 119, he's getting close to being super factored, so he'll be 120, 125 across the board. For me, that's good enough. Obviously, with the max tier Ripken boost, he would be 125, 125 across the board, which, I mean, is crazy. But it is what it is. Ellie gets max contact and clutch. J-Ram gets close enough to max. Bellinger doesn't need anything. Acuna doesn't need anything. Adley still gets maxed, and Rafi, you can make the argument, doesn't really need anything except power against lefties, but there's really no way of giving that to him. So that is the squad. Some honorable mentions. You could platoon like Simeon and Seager at second base if you just aren't a Marte guy. And then depending on who the starting pitcher is, you would either put in Simeon or Corey Seager, and that would be up to you. That's worth mentioning also, right? The embargo, per se, on lefties that I've been implementing is kind of gone now, because Randy should be out of 90% of people's rotations. There probably will be some people that still think he's worth their wild card, but he will be out. You're only going to see Leiter and Donaldson for the most part, lefty-wise, both of which I don't think are quite as tough on lefties as somebody like Randy is. So I do not mind having 3 or more lefties in the lineup now. Although with all these great switch hitting options, why would you? So I think Seager's good enough. I think Simeon's good enough. I think Cruz is a good shout in the outfield. And like I said, with the decline of lefty starters, I think Corbin Carroll could play for you now. I still hear his swing is bad. I still have not taken one swing with him yet. But I still hear his swing is bad, but he's on my bench for a defensive sub for like McCutchen late game if I wanted something like that. So rotations, obviously the big change here is Randy is gone. So who would I be looking at to replace Randy? Actually, we don't need to do the rotation. We'll do our second lineup, and the rotation's already fixed. So this is my alternate lineup going into next season. Let me hide my camera so you guys can actually see this. As you can see, Devers is playing first with this team. So this is the Rollins team build. He is our captain for this team. Pretty much does almost the exact same things as Cal. I think he gives a little bit less contact against left, but he gives speed instead of fielding, which is better in my opinion. And so the way I've organized this team is we get Digo in there. So he is not a starter for us with this team. He is a primary position player. And he looks good. I think he's at like 101, and then whatever his power numbers are against each side with the boost, which is good enough. I would like it to be a little better, but he should serve you well up until late Hall of Fame, early Legend. And if you really like his swing, he can play on Legend. There are top 50 guys that use Digo. Obviously, our wild card with this team is free, right? So you could do anybody that Rollins boost. You can see I'm opting for Chipper because he's just got that dog in him. But other options include Derek Jeter, Simeon, Arias, this Jacob Wilson card, Bobby Witt is not bad. This Lindor, if you really, really like Lindor, is that Esquiel, Duran, Arcia, Albies. It gets worse. It gets a lot worse after Chipper, but my pick will be Chipper. You can see Ellie still is 125, 125, so he loses nothing thanks to this boost. J-Ram is a little worse because of this boost. You can see he has, like 7 less contact than the full Ripken. Where I was running Ripken at, this boost is kind of equivalent to. But if you had the full Ripken boost on J-Ram, he's like 125, 124. So that's a lot better, but he is still very usable and still probably the best third baseman with this boost. You can see Javi Baez is such a slept-on card. I mean, with this boost, he is max contact, amazing power. I would say that's bang on average, if not slightly above average power. And he should be an excellent fielder in left. You can see I have him P1, and with the Max Year Rollins boost, he already has 91 speed. He is going to fly out there. 96 speed if you superfractor him. He's going to look crazy. He's going to play an amazing left field, and he should be an absolute stud. Not a lot of quirks to speak of, but, I mean, the swing is good. I like his swing a lot. You just got to focus on not getting jammed with him. And then Ketel's playing right for us. You can see 87 speed, mediocre reaction. He is going to get some iffy reactions, but his bat is even better on this team. He is a max contact guy on this team, whereas he doesn't even he doesn't qualify for the Ripken team. I just play him there because I think he's the best option. But there are so many different ways you could go with this team. If you don't have somebody like Griffey, Digo could play center for you, and then you could like use that non-boosted slot on a catcher like Adley. If you don't like Javi, I think there's other decent outfield options. Maybe not. But you could get a different third baseman in here, depending on who you like, and move J-Ram out to left, where he would be a more than adequate left fielder. I mean, you see he would have, He would have 88 reaction and 94 speed. That's more than enough, in my opinion, to play a decent left field. And then these are the bench options. If Mookie gets a lightning card, look out, because this team's going to get even crazier. I would probably either slot him into one of the outfield spots or second base. Depends on how fast he is. Barry Larkin looks insane. The only problem is he can only play short, so you would probably move like Ellie to the bench and then bring him in for Rollins at second base and just play Barry at shortstop. That platoon that I was talking about with Simeon and Seager is still there if you want it. And Jackie Robinson makes this team also, although he does not really benefit from it at all. So, let's get into the rotation, right? I said this team had my rotation. This is my rotation heading into the next season. John becomes the de facto best pitcher in the game. Al Leiter, insanely slept on. I think he's probably the best World Series reward from like a competitive standpoint. Just something about him is just really hard to hit. And he has the really, really high through nines. The control is not an issue at all. Like I figured, his pitch controls are very high. Especially on the sinker, it definitely offsets that 87 walks. That 87 walks is such a fake stat for him. I would say all these guys, other than Roy, he is my best control pitcher by far. DeGrom has been extremely disappointing, but I'm holding out hope that he can still pull it together and be halfway decent for me. Roy Halladay has been phenomenal every start I've pitched him. And Skeens is my pick for 5th best starter. I don't really know, like, who else I would even really be considering. Maybe Matt Cain, maybe Shohei, but I gave him a start recently and he was pretty poor. Maybe Lorenzen, maybe Zach Wheeler would probably be my picks for set 3 5th tier starters. The bullpen. This is the problem heading in next season. The bullpen is in shambles. What you're seeing right now is what I think is the best bullpen going into next season. And if it looks poor, it's because it is. Billy Wagner, probably the worst lefty specialist used this season. I'm seeing him a lot online. He's BP every time I've seen him. But he's kind of got to be there by default. He has to be there. There's just no other lefty specialist like that. Yunier Cano, I mean, if you liked his monthly card, this one's the same card. He makes it. Garrett Crochet is probably my pick for the best lefty specialist. I've used him online. So far, he's been pretty disgusting. But he's basically Billy Wagner without the BP, like, pitch, the arm slot. I think Billy Wagner's arm slot screws him a lot. It makes the slider, like, not tempting at all to swing on if you throw it inside. Joel, my guy Joel, just has a glitchy release. Not a great pitch mix. Not great. Nothing's necessarily great about him. Just has a glitchy release. Can throw people off. Brock Stewart, 5-pitch pitcher. Although I've heard he's BP. But I guess you'll just have to pitch smarter with him. Camillo, obviously on Legend. He's great. Every other difficulty, you probably wouldn't pitch him. So that's a tough spot. That's basically an empty spot in the bullpen right there. Trevor Rosenthal, I mean, looks okay, right? He has like a 5-pitch default mix. Like if SDS just copy and pasted like bronze pitchers 5-pitch mix onto a 99 diamond, it would be this. It's a very default mix. There's nothing crazy about it. No sinker, no cutter. It's very default, has outlier, has the max through 9s. I don't know how well he's going to pitch, but it doesn't really matter because on paper, he makes the best bullpen. And then I think the righty I'd be the most comfortable with is his Santos card. Super glitchy release, has an outlier sinker, makes him hard to square up. And I mean, that's about it. I don't even know who else you could really consider in the bullpen. Like Alexis throws 2 pitches. Esteves is not terrible, but he's a 3-pitch pitcher. You kind of want to stay away from those. This Kinley sucks. Hader, maybe as a lefty specialist, maybe. Devin Williams, maybe. Like, it's really rough in the bullpen. Eckersley, maybe. Like, when Eckersley is thinking about getting in the bullpen, you know it's a bad bullpen. Yeah, probably just wouldn't touch any of these other guys. Maybe Adbert Alize. I think he's around here somewhere. Pomeranz isn't, like, awful. Good long reliever, I guess. I don't even see Adbert, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's looking rough. It's looking rough for the bullpen heading into next season. But these are the teams I would consider running heading into next season. I think both of these can win you a lot of games. I already played a ranked game with this team, right? That's why I put innings on Crochet. I rocked out with this awful bullpen and won a game where I had to go to the bullpen. So this team has a lot of potential, I would say, especially if Mookie gets that lightning card. If Mookie gets a lightning card and they give him like mid 70s to like 80 speed, something like that, and he can get up to like 85, give or take, with the Rollins boost, and you can put him in a corner spot in the outfield, I think that would be ideal, and it would make this team comparable to this team, right? I think this is still the best lineup you can run, but I think that Rollins team is a close second, and it does free up your wild card spots where you don't have to use it on any of these guys, right? With the Rollins team, you could wild card Randy. You could make the argument that wildcarding Randy would be in your best interest. You can see I am at 11 of 11 on this team. So, yeah, you could. You're going to lose some of the boosts, but you could wildcard somebody like Randy, or you could even wildcard like Mickey, I guess, if you really wanted to. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it. I think those are the lineups you should be running heading into next season. Obviously, some new players might come out. Hopefully, some new players come out at the very start of Set 4 that are relatively easily accessible and can crack some of these lineups. But, you know, I'm reserved. What can you say after SDS has dropped no real content the last 2 weeks? But until next time, guys, again, if you have watched multiple of the videos on the channel and you have enjoyed them, I'd urge you to subscribe. Till next time.